dfzradio.com.
Feeling so high. Roll up that hydro make me feel fine. Roll up that hydro make me feel fine. Cook up that hydro make me feel high. Feeling so high. Roll up that hydro.
All right, kitchen's open. It's 5 o'clock. Hope you're feeling good, ready to get educated and meducated. We're out here, Farm to Table Cannabis, DFZ Radio. Proudly shown on High Times TV now. We got a good show for you lined up. We're the only show offering you edible reviews, interviews with the top brands in the industry. We'll keep you laughing, we'll keep you educated, and we'll keep you medicated. So tonight, none other than Grow Generation in the studios themselves. Commercial sales team, retail sales team extraordinaire. They brought their sidekicks and their side chicks. No. And none other than Shoogies in the building right now. CEO, co-founder himself, Lethem Woodward. So, man, you guys ready to get medicated?
Let's do this.
All right. So, as always, we like to start off the show with some news. And, this is none other than Cannabis, Farm to Table Cannabis, bringing you the news. So, let's start off. We're going to go down to... We're going to go down south real quick. So for more than 50 years in a scientific world, if you wanted to conduct a clinical trial using cannabis, you needed to obtain the drug through the University of Mississippi, and it's been the only game in town. The university since 1968 consistently secured U.S. government contracts to serve as the country's sole supplier of research-grade cannabis. But this partnership has come under fire in recent years because the product the University of Mississippi grown is considered, as the lawsuit put, as subpar, guys. They're growing mids, and they want to test cannabis, but they can't test it because these guys are growing mid-grade products. Wow. So on Monday, Old Rain came a step closer to coming to an end. The DEA on Monday said it's now moving forward with its 2016 policy change to allow more entities to grow cannabis for federally approved research. Industry advocates claim such a move would be a boon to not only science but also national legalization efforts. If the DEA is really going to go and follow through on what it's saying, then this would be a big step in the right direction. I mean, can you imagine the government grants to study cannabis? And the people that would be clawing for those grants, like, man.
Finally I can get back in school.
They'll be lining up.
So they said the main thing it will likely do is precipitate border changes in the federal policy in marijuana, which is immensely knock off the effects of the industry. So said Daber Abernathy, vice president of the government affairs of the Archive Group. However, a leading drug expert and prominent cannabis researcher both caution that such expectations should be tempered and that the potential benefits and risk of cannabis will likely continue to be woeful under research. Yeah, because they don't know what they're doing, At the end of the day, it's been in the black market for so long. Maybe it's time the government tapped the black market instead of arresting the black market to find out what the new trends are and what's going on with the cannabinoids, because guess who found out Charlotte's Web? That wasn't in the mainstream market, you know what I mean? Like the CBD high strains, those were something that came from the black market, which everything did. So moving on over to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Kids with health issues who need medical cannabis are one step closer to getting cannabis in schools. On Tuesday, the New Mexico Public Education Department published its final rule in which the New Mexico Register that allows the law for the drugs to be in schools. While the final rule was yet to be published, the law will go into effect in July. So right now, they should be engaged in a collaborative process about how they do and they want to handle this, Katrina Sandoval, a deputy secretary of New Mexico Public Education Department, said. So the final rule states that each school district is responsible for coming up with their own policies and procedures on with how exactly the drug will be stored. They'll probably give it to the janitor, I figure. Yeah,
He's already got a stash
fucking makes
anyway,
sense anyway. It's New Mexico again.
Go right to the source.
Another mid story. But the rule also states that medical cannabis must be stored with a lock and key, next to the guns for protect your students, right, next to the weed. And the students can't self-administer the weed, and it has to be approved by a parent or a local guardian.
Shotguns only, shotgun style.
Excuse me, Raul, it's time for your morning dab. This kid, I can't stand him when he's ADD like a motherfucker.
Nap time.
Dabs for the classrooms. All right.
Make the school lunch program way better.
And then over to the East Coast. Hey, you're right. Those school lunches were awful. New York is going to get rid of some marijuana convictions and expunge them under the new law. In Albany, starting Wednesday, thousands of New Yorkers will be eligible to have low-level marijuana convictions wiped clean from their records under a new law. Individuals with convictions under unlawful marijuana possession and possession of marijuana as a Class B misdemeanor will have those convictions automatically expunged.
All right.
Without having to submit application to do so, which is huge. That's what the Roll San Francisco did first. They're like, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and just do it. You don't got to stand in line. Could you imagine the fucking line? What are you here for? Hey, what are you here for? I'm getting my shit. Oh, I'm getting my shit too. Got weed, got blunt, let's smoke.
Yep. Another ticket.
Another ticket for smoking in City Hall. So another 10,872 people across the Empire State will all qualify. The law changes also makes weed possession under 2 ounces a violation instead of a criminal offense, capped at $200, which happens to be about what a half ounce goes for in New York. So for a one under 1 ounce violation, it's $50. So it's also automatically expunged. Will B-level misdemeanors. 24,000 people will have no criminal record after this.
Wow.
That's huge. So that was the only thing on their record was cannabis.
Wow.
How about that?
Big
So
accomplishment.
that's what we're doing here. We're bringing you up to date on the news and all the things out there in the industry. We like to keep you updated, and that's what we're going to keep on doing every week. So, without further ado, Shoogies, Latham Woodard, man.
What's up?
So, you've been on a tour, man. This is your first appearance on DFC Radio, but you've been doing things all week.
I have been. I'm 2 weeks in. It's really getting intense.
So, Shoogies, for everyone that doesn't know Shoogies is a medicated sugar and agave cane sugar. It's a sweetener, but it's also enhanced with everyone's favorite medical product.
THC.
There it is. And you know, we don't have to call it medicated anymore because we can call it straight getting high because this is legal.
It's just legit what we do in terms of getting THC to you in a way you already do it. You're already putting sugar in your coffee or your tea. You're already using agave in your margarita. Well, you can use our stuff and get a little groove with it too.
So there's so many niche things out there in the cannabis industry, and then there's a lot of copycat products. I don't see a ton of like people doing things where you can enhance a product using their product. So you're actually bringing out the natural effect, you know, and how they want to use it. So, you know, what inspired you to do sugar first of all, and you know, what got you into this?
I grew up in a catering household. My mom was a caterer, supported us when we were kids, and I was always around food. Cooked in kitchens in Portland after college, and loved food. Then I went into another business and I started manufacturing things, so I got used to manufacturing things. And I had a stroke of good fortune and was able to get out of that business and get into my passion business.
It's a tough game, honestly. The catering business, it is a like back and forth type of cutthroat business, if you will, because and not only that, the people you get to get introduced into that all make you feel like, wow, I could be doing some really cool stuff with these connections too, you know. So how did that lead to cannabis?
Just thought about agave one day. I was in the tequila business. I was importing agave syrup for a number of years, and I said, wow, if I combine THC, something I love, and agave, I've got a great invention here. Well, that was the pet project. It went pretty well, but the formulation took a long time. It was a lot harder than we thought. We got sugar back on the market faster because it was an easier one.
And it's granular, too. So, I mean, the dosage and getting all that right, that probably took a lot of perfecting.
It did.
And now you have several different options, and you've got the cane sugar, and that's a granular form. Now, other than putting it in the coffee, and are you a chef yourself?
Yeah, I do a lot of cooking. I do all the cooking in our house.
That's what's up.
And I was a chef in restaurants.
All right, so classically trained?
No.
That's
trained by mom.
That's what's up. That's what some of the most big skills get brought in, right? So that's the stuff they don't teach you from the mama's kitchen. So, what are some of the ways that you would use this in a application in your kitchen?
Sure. Well, for me, it's sugar, right? So you're just going to take one of those things and put on your fruit, put on your cereal, put in your coffee or tea or anything else. Anything you use sugar on, you use that. It's the same thing, basically.
And so you can keep it simple as you want. Now, if you want to get more technical with it, can I use this in my baking recipes?
Absolutely. I just had some wonderful cookies cooked by Jeff the chef.
Jeff the 420 chef.
420 shout out,
You've been
yeah.
meeting all the big chefs out here. You've been on a tour, just putting those that powder in people's hands. He's in the import-export business. Hey, Scarface Scarface of THC Cannabis over here. Cannabis Sugar
I got a
Booger.
new name.
We got we're gonna call you Mr. Sugar Booger. But that's a good thing you're doing though, because it's getting people into cooking and medicating at home.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, because it's one thing to grow your own ingredients and wait 6 months for it, but if you want to throw a dinner party, or you want to do a infusion, or you just want to medicate, this sugar is accessible now.
Totally.
This wasn't something you could find on the market. You had to go to your local sesh or black market, or trust your local grower to make sugar, which is again not an easy process. Without going into any proprietary secrets, is this like the classic grain alcohol with sugar, let it evaporate? Or are you guys doing a different process?
Yeah, it's more intensive than that.
I would expect,
Yeah, it's not just 1 or 2 steps. It's many steps, and it's the formulary. We finally got the SOP down like 4 months ago. Right?
All right, yeah, it took them
forever.
Yeah, and the packaging too. That's another thing too. It's like you get everything ready, and the packaging in this world changing. It was a constant keeping up with things, I'm sure. Right now, you went with the packets.
Yeah, have you seen it?
Yeah, let's open one up and
Break
let's
one
see
up.
what's going on.
So this is agave syrup in a little.
And you notice it was childproof there.
totally childproof.
That whole box was childproof.
Yeah.
Very impressive right there. That was not easy.
Skills.
If he had me or Donnie trying to do it, we'd look like a monkey.
Yeah. And here's the sugar, different color. We do have a CBD 1-to-1 coming out in about 6 weeks.
So 1-to-1 THC to CBD.
Yeah.
Now that's unique because now you're getting the full effect. You're getting the synergistic entourage effect of having a CBD and the THC.
Exactly, but I think you'll try this one, and you'll also find that it gives you a really low, slow ride, just like a low dosage edible. It makes you get you in a good space.
Now, I mean, you guys travel a lot. Grow Generation, Donnie, Brando. Like, you ever see people medicating like this?
Heck
Like,
no, what do you do? Snort one, shoot one? Is that what this is?
You're going old school, huh? I like that.
free base in the agave.
No, man, just crack it and use it.
That's
That's
excellent.
it.
No, that's convenient as hell.
The amount of agave syrup here is exactly pretty much what's in every single margarita recipe.
Okay.
So, happy coincidence.
So with sugar, you don't have to have the nutritional information, or do you?
It's all in the box.
It's on the box.
Yeah, because
okay.
we don't sell these as like loosies.
Makes sense
we do
because they're
sell
not
them
for
that way.
individual sale. You hear that, you little bootleggers? Don't go buy one and try to slang these, all right?
Exactly. No loosies.
You learn how.
There goes my market.
So, the sugar, the agave. Now, agave nectar, I'm not familiar with cooking with it a lot. Now, what are some things you could do with the agave? Because it's more liquid form, it's more readily available. I mean, could you do drinks?
Oh, absolutely. What I recommend if you're an alcohol drinker, you mix that with your booze first.
I see.
And mix it in. It'll blend very quickly. Then add the ice.
Now,
Fruit juices, wonderful.
now when it comes to like baking with the agave, is it the same as it would be with the sugar?
Baking with agave is nothing I'm really familiar with.
Okay.
But I use it primarily in food preparation.
I bet it'd be great in sorbets, things like that.
Yeah, it would be.
Unique, a very unique product you got here. So, drink mixers, baking. Where can people pick these products up at?
Any Apex dispensary right now in the state should.
Now,
or
shout
will
out to
have it.
Apex.
Yeah, shout out to
Apex
Apex. They're
is
great people. We've had a great relationship with them.
Doing it for the right reasons
Absolutely.
too. So we like to shine a light on the products, then people doing it for the right reasons, and that's why we brought you in. But we also want to try it. That's the thing. So
Let's do
you
it.
brought some creme brulee, and we're gonna sprinkle it with some of this Shoogies cane sugar, and hell, we might even mix it with some of my drink too. Hell.
There you
But
go.
first, let's take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Donnie and Brando from Grow Generation and all the awesome things going on over there on their commercial and retail side. And we'll be back with more Latham Woodard talking about Shoogies.
Thank you.
DFZ Radio, Farm to Table Cannabis.
Side diesel in my blood, purple drink in my cup. Someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Side diesel in my blood, purple drink in my cup. Someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up. Sour diesel up in my blunt. Purple drink up in my cup. Crank it up, crank it on up. That's D. Got me smoking the bass, no stress cheese. Now hold up, now roll up. Check the situation, bout to go nuts. With a little bit of perk up in my cup. You could tell the bartender to fill it on up. That's alright, baby, work your stuff. And that's all night, baby, work your strut. You and your friends can ride when I go. Take a little spin in my Monte Carlo. Take a little dip, baby, show you how I roll. Take a little hit, baby, puff on the hydro. Eyes so lit, make me look like my eyes closed. Purple drink mix, make me look like my eyes glow. Hypno Grey Goose with a little grape juice. That's how it is, so I'ma have to take side diesel in my blunt. Purple drink in my cups, I'ma tell the DJ, crank it on up. Side diesel in my blunt, purple drink in my cup, someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up, crank it up. Sour diesel up in my blunt, purple drink up in my cup, crank it up, crank it on up. It's the ADX team with no doubt in between, and we stay fresh and clean when we hop on the scene, and we style on them, profile on them. If they wanna act crazy, then we wild on them. It's the S to the T and that Cambo G, either Maserati blue or the Lambo green, and that Chevrolet mean when it drop on the street. Either hating on you or they hating on me, and it's shaved up, raised up, drive it to the flow, got them blades that stay tough. And the candy on the bike, same color as sour. Catch me on the site 100 miles per hour. This is my life, so this ain't ours. So I stay tight, so this is power. With the ADX team, you can call us some brave hearts. Sour diesel trees, you can call it the trademark. Side diesel in my blunt, purple drink in my cup. Someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Side diesel in my blunt, purple drink in my cup. Someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up, crank it up. Sour diesel up in my blunt, purple drink up in my cup, crank it up, crank it on up. West Coast, crank it on up. East Coast, crank it on up. Midwest, crank it on up. Down south, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up, crank it up. Sour diesel up in my blunt, purple drink up in my cup, crank it up, crank it on up.
SG, DJ Dale, Big Bell, Killer P, Chino with the OE, it's the ADX team. 562 Mall.
All right, welcome back, DFZ Radio. You're here with the hydroponic chef. We got Grow Generation in the building, and Latham Woodard, man, you came correct today.
Thank you, man.
So Shoogies has got the medicated sugar and the agave syrup too, and one of the perfect things to do with it is put it on the creme brulee. You can do the baking. You could even put this in there when you're making the creme brulee because it calls for sugar as part of the recipe.
Look at that go.
So you got that nice browning on top. Hey Doug, you want to take some video with that camera? He's got the sidekick in the studio too. He's over there answering all of Latham's emails because I'm sure people are blowing up trying to get that powder chowder,
Okay.
that Shoogies.
That's what it's all about.
So you're
That
changing.
sizzle
Making
with
the
the
masses
fizzle.
happy.
You're changing. Yeah. While we were on the break, Brando came out with the new tagline.
That sizzle with the fizzle.
Or sizzle with the drizzle.
With the drizzle
that's stage
too.
2.
We can hit the drizzle.
I feel unaffiliated. I wish I'd have brought somebody with me, you know?
Oh.
Could have brought a...
Yeah, I brought them so I could stay in the commute lane.
And so these are 5 milligrams each.
Yeah,
So each one of these packets are 5 milligrams.
correct.
And then you got the agave that we're gonna put on top of it as well. And man, I tell you what, guys, this is
That
a
needs
hard job.
picture. That needs a
Yeah, this is
picture.
a hard job, but somebody's got to do it.
That's a snack attack right there.
Hey, Brando, right on the other side of that door is a couple of forks, and that brown crate is right by the stools. Because otherwise, this just looks so good, I would just dip my fingers in it, like 10 steps out right by the crate. All right, so Again, you got inspired because you did a catering business. You saw a niche for a product that wasn't there.
Well, yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of the evolution of it, right? It's just, this is something people need, right? I view the dispensary as a grocery store. You got to have something for everybody there. You know, it's just it's the new modern grocery store.
Totally right. So we got these set. We're gonna try these with our homies from GrowGen. So welcome to the studio, guys. DFZ Radio, Farm to Table Cannabis. Big welcome to Grow Generation.
Woo.
So you guys been doing it for a minute now. I know both you guys from before the changeover to Grow Generation, and then I know you guys now as Grow Generation. So it's been a fun evolution. So shall we have some creme brulee and talk grow, everybody?
Let's do it.
So we've got some callers. I think he's been waiting. Let's take a caller real quick. All right. Everyone, headphones on. Initiating conversation.
Power on.
In 3, 2. What up, Mason from St. Louis? You're on the air with Farm to Table Cannabis. What was your question? You talking about gardening or cooking?
Well, I was talking about cooking. I got some RSO, and I want to know how could I incorporate your gummies.
Yeah, you know, that's funny. Everyone's doing gummies right now. That's like everyone's favorite thing is gummies. This sugar would be the best way to add it because you wouldn't have to do so much mixing. But if you've got the RSO ready to go, break it down, melt it in with some sugar. You're going to need some of that corn syrup too. You can look up any gummy recipe, and you're going to incorporate that sugar with that RSO mix. You're going to melt that down on a double broiler so you don't burn it. And basically, which it's almost like a simple syrup. And that simple syrup, when you add it with the corn, the fructose corn syrup and the cornstarch, that's going to be your thickening agent. And then you can add your colorings, your flavorings. Hell, maybe grab some terpenes and get a little drip in there so you can flavor it with your favorite. I like alcohol infused gummies that don't have alcohol in them. They just have the flavor. So think of like rum flavored cannabis infused gummy bears or a whiskey flavored cannabis infused licorice. It's really fun. The sky's the limit for you, man. So, and you're in St. Louis, dude, which is wild because I don't know a lot of people doing it in St. Louis. So you'd be the only guy. I'm not telling you to start a business or anything, but if you did, you'd probably be the only dude out there doing it.
No, I say just real green.
That's right. I can dig it. So what's the medical scene? What's the medical scene looking like out there?
It's just starting.
Just getting off the ground.
I got my 6, and then I'm waiting on another person to give me their number.
So you provide care for people and grow for them?
Yes, sir.
Well, hell, man, you called the right show because you're talking about edibles, but we like talking growing too. So what's your preferred grow method? You a cocoa ninja or you a Rockwell scientist?
Hey, cocoa forever.
Attaboy. Respect, man. Respect.
Yeah.
Blaze one for the Cocoa Nation.
Hey.
So yeah, we're gonna hook you up, man, for calling in with the grow question and the food question. And since you're a grower and you're doing it and giving back and taking care of the people, I'm gonna shoot you a magic butter machine, man.
Oh.
You are our winner today, man. So Mason in St. Louis, you take a minute. We're gonna put you on hold. You can shoot your address to our screener, and we'll get you taken care of so you can medicate some of your patients out there and be a good caregiver.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, man, thanks a lot, Mason. Much respect to you. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, they
He's got more.
So good.
Hey, let me try this live on the air. We're gonna call this dessert on the radio. You hear that crunch?
I heard it.
That's that medicated sugar, baby. Shout out to Shoogies.
Thank you.
All right, Mason. Thanks for calling in, bro.
Thanks a lot.
So that's a good segue into growing.
There you go.
Yeah, that's our good segue into growing. After talking about food, he called about food, but he's a caregiver. It's weird. Remember, like when the game first started, everybody was a caregiver.
Right.
How everyone thinks they are now. Fucking master grower. Oh shit! Right? Hey, let's make caregivers great again. Let's start a new
Bring
campaign.
back Florence Nightingale.
So, You guys deal with these questions probably on a day in and day out basis. You know, what do I do to save my plant? I'm a caregiver. I'm growing some tomatoes. What's it like taking some of these questions day in and day out that you've answered 1,000 times? I mean, you guys are, the legend has it you should never say this, but you guys are master growers. Like, I'm sorry, you get the label put on you. You might not like it, but, you know, you can answer a question or two, but you've also got the experience to back it up. So let's talk about what do you deal with when you deal with these people? What are the questions you get in and day out? What's the most common one?
Oh, man, that's tough. We get the same pretty much every day from all different kinds of people. So ours is a little mecca of weirdness.
So you're out there. So you cover Palm Springs. So Palm Springs, you got a different type of grower than you would have out there in Vegas, Donnie.
100%. Man.
So, I mean, Donnie, you deal with a lot of IPM, a lot of questions with that, I imagine, because let's be honest, we've toured a couple facilities together. We mention no names, but everybody out in that neck of the woods seems to be suffering from the same cycle of issues.
I wouldn't say all of them, but more than I would.
Bring that mic closer to you. There we go.
More than I would ever care to acknowledge.
Which is job security for us and good
God.
folks over there at Grow Generation. But you know, when it comes to like the powdery mildews and the integrated pest management products, you guys got a good formula that you already go with, or is it kind of let the customers pick out their own stuff?
So I got kind of a different way of approaching things like this. When the customer actually comes in and inquires about a product or a specific problem they're having, and they're open to, you know, taking my recommendations on something, then absolutely, man, doors open. Here's how we're going to work this. Here's how we're going to make this happen. And then I got the other ones that are, they know what they want. They don't want to talk about it. They just want their product at the best price point they can get it at. So it's, you know, it's learning each customer as they come in, get a few words out, and you can kind of dial in on, you know, how am I going to deal with this particular cultivation, this personal grow, whatever.
So a lot of us feeling them out, figuring
100%.
who you're dealing with, asking, are you a Cocoa Ninja or a Rockwell scientist? So in your travels, what do you see the most of? Is it the Rockwell or is it the cocoa in these grows in a commercial facility?
It's everything under the sun. Everybody's got their own method of how they're doing it. Some are mixing a whole lot of those methods, which you know, I'm not a huge fan of seeing Rockwell sticking out of soil, but you know, that's neither here nor there, you know.
Yeah, hybrid.
And now Brando, with the changing California market, because Las Vegas, we got to give it to them. They really got their shit together when it come to regulating the cannabis. I don't know if it was the big gaming being able just to switch over and, you know, implement some of that onto that, but I mean, Vegas should plan cities because they're so good at that shit. But, you know, when it comes to some of the people that you're dealing with out in the Palm Springs area, you know, how are you able to keep up with the constantly changing applications, products, the stuff like that? GrowGen got the training program for that?
Yeah, I wish there was some kind of training program for that. I don't know. Our store's been a hype beast because we're like a melting pot from Florida and Missouri and Colorado and Northern and Washington, and they all come down to us, and it's kind of amazing of the different products that we've never heard of or never seen that are demanded out of nowhere. So
Dude,
it's hard.
It's wild when you get growers from Florida, because it's one grower comes from Florida, and then all of a sudden, like 30% of your customers are now Floridans, a couple Cubans.
Oh yeah, we just sectioned the stores off, not to segregate people, but we put everything in there. All your stuff's right here. This is the price you buy it at. Thank you very much.
Asking for East Coast shit you ain't never even heard of.
Now tell me though, have you seen the old recipes though?
Oh yeah, that's the best part about it.
With the design still around, the pieces of paper all pretty.
Oh damn, that Hector passed down to dude
all the way back.
There's a screenshot of this somewhere on the wall.
Greatest thing ever.
Phospho load is definitely on the list.
Yeah.
So
I've seen it with tape over it.
Yeah, absolutely.
let's talk about some of those old school black market practices. All right. So I'm gonna throw a couple slang terms out there. You know what I mean? And you tell me if you know what this was. All right. Dude walks in the store and he asks you for, hey, do you got the and I'm doing this, but you know the clamps. that do that thing, you know that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What's he asking for?
Trying to tap that stuff.
He's looking to steal power.
Tap that ass.
That was back in the early 2000s when all the fucking people walking in the store didn't know English, so they could just say, You know the clamps, man.
Yep.
All right,
That was
and
a
then
good one.
all right, Donnie, I'm gonna toss this volley up to you. What's the fofolo?
Oh God. So yeah, that would definitely be that one I was just discussing. Their absolute favorite, bro.
And what would this product be used for?
That would be a bulker and a lateral growth regulator.
Big ones.
And it's technically registered as a pest product. It's a pest control product, but they would feed it to their plant to make the nugs harder.
Oh, don't forget it stops lateral growth right then and there.
Right? Yeah, and instantly stops that internodal spacing too. We used to call it. We had a little song for it at the old hydro stores. Take that shine away. It's like if you use it, it cuts off the gibberellum pathways in your plant, and that the frost literally goes away. It's
You just
like,
can't use Pantene, bring that shine back?
yeah, there is no magic swish for that. So it's funny we think about how far the game's gone because we all knew that grower. We all know that guy that used that stuff. But now it's been kind of a joke, a little poke in the ribs at people. Look, you grow mids, you probably use phospholode and shit. But with the black market thriving the way it is, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of those questions get brought up now. So you guys being respectful growers, you guys, Grow Generation being the type of company that has really changed the way people's grown, got them, being compliant in Colorado and being compliant on the East Coast, changing the game in California. How are you guys able to, shift that way of thinking to those black market growers? What kind of responsibility do you think you have to do that?
I think being a big part of having options instead of that is a cool thing because now we don't have anything available for like set, so it's easy to negotiate something that'll work that we've seen work over and over to somebody that might be able to try it. So that's kind of a good way to go.
And actually having pest applicators licenses, that's another big
being
thing.
able to show them how to use it, educating them.
You have the infrastructure that allows your company to do that, that's something that some of the other smaller places might not be hip to because it does require you to have an applicator's license to spray anything that's dual registered for commercial and home use. And let's be honest, everything is registered for commercial and home use now because everybody is hoping they use it everywhere. Very few products are Armory certified, CDFA certified, and EPA tested though. So your guys' job has been to kind of teach people about that. Did you guys go to school for biology or anything? Like, is this hard? It's hard knocked life. Like, we had to learn this in trials and killing plants. So I think one of my favorite things to tell people, when they want to, like, hey, how'd you get to a light? No, but I've killed more plants than you've ever grown. And I think there's something to that.
That's one of our slogans at work. Everybody there has failed at every single situation in growing, so there's a way around it all. So we fixed everything.
Now, Don, with the commercial game being where it is in Las Vegas and the implementation of things, are you seeing a shift in the way people purchase? Is it more and more dry nutrients? Are people going with the liquid formulas? What are you seeing out there as far as the trends?
So that's directly correlated to the store staff. And you're going to find that different
from store to store.
Absolutely, man.
Okay.
So it's I'm a powder guy.
Memes dictate the prices. Store dictates the grower.
I am a powder guy. I'm big on ease of things. So of course I'm always trying to gravitate people to using a good dry base, and then from there whatever amendments they want to use. Liquids tend to be the best delivery for those kind of applications. So it's a work in progress, brother.
So there's new products every day. It's got to be rough in your guys' position. You've got every Kyle, Brad, and fucking Larry coming into you asking you questions about shit.
You forgot Chad.
Oh yeah, Chad. What about Chad? So with the changing game and the prices moving up, do you see an influx of people that never grown before wanting to touch the plant, or?
Wow.
Is it or is it like the old school guys coming back?
No, it is. I'm seeing a lot of new people that have never grown a plant before. Never. Like all of a sudden, they are just ready to rock and roll. They want to fire up 4 lights in a room. Like,
they heard 24 is the new low.
Okay.
And sold out September is coming.
Yeah, we're not retired anymore.
Well, welcome back to the game, y'all. So, what do you think, guys? Where is the industry going right now as far as like the hobbyist grower and the room guy? Is it tents are a thing of the past? Do you think people are going to make the conversion to just buying their weed at the store, or is it going to be a homegrown world?
Where I'm from, it's going to go right back into tents and still growing. The people that are working at all these facilities get more hype now to go and try that themselves, seeing what goes on there, and they're going to want to keep doing it again, and they're not making enough money at these places to afford to go to facilities anyway, so they're going to want to redo it all themselves.
The tax part's really killing people, I think, right out the rip. Like,
sure,
$90 top shelf. I mean,
you're making $14-15 an hour, and you're gonna do that all day long, and then go spend twice that for the same stuff you can't have.
Chad says he has wedding cake, and he can get it right up the street.
Kyle's gonna punch a hole in the wall if you don't let him have it.
Yeah. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk some more grow. We're gonna take some more callers. I've got some General Hydroponics ripened to give away. The new product from GH works great in a doser system, and you can call in and win 562-653-0707. Latham, should we eat some of this creme brulee from Shoogies?
We've been sitting here waiting.
Let's get down. My mouth is watering. DFZ Radio, Farm to Table Cannabis.
.com.
Hey, wait.
I've been up for like
6 days.
No, I wasn't on cocaine. Honest, trying not to stress, man. Cause life be hella one bitch, man. Like, I just need a little smoke. How I go from being broke to fucking and freaking and digging the bitch and telling me she love herself to get choked. I'm not the one for them pills. Most of y'all be cheap thrills. I'd rather be pouring and popping and mixing that juice, that ice stuff from that seal. Smoke in my lungs make it all better. I will OD with weed and die never. Smoking wherever, any endeavor. I'll smoke whoever, I stay high forever. Now the rules gone. I've been taking so many drugs, what are you on? Used to hate me, now they wanna play me my songs. And I don't think they will understand. Working hard like a businessman to have the things that I never had. I went through some lessons on lessons. I put in that work, now it's blessings on blessings. Like nothing can stop me, like Iron Man armies. I keep that shit on me, just telling you, homie, I'ma get me what I deserve. While I drive with a little swerve, with a fogged out car while I'm smoking the bomb, getting top dropping in reverse. Gotta pay all the haters, no mind, ain't waiting until I get signed. After the money, while you acting funny, be calling and wasting my time. Gotta pay all the haters, no mind, ain't waiting until I get signed. After the money, while you acting funny, be calling and wasting my time. Now the rules gone. I've been taking so many drugs, what are you on? Used to hate me, now they wanna play me my songs. And I don't think they will understand. Working hard like a businessman to have the things that I never had. Gone. I've been taking so many drugs, what are you on?
DFZRadio.com.
Launch crew, ready to reservoir.
What's the load factor, sir?
Bringing the Riser Blast liquid at 2 mils per gallon.
Okay, sir. We are loaded and ready to launch.
10, 9.
Okay, men. It's time to blast off into the plant's root zone and into another galaxy of root growth.
Rhizoblast is a proprietary blend of seaweed and the single-celled algae chlorella. Chlorella's abundance of amino acids and minerals contribute to its value in hydroponics. The benefits used in Rhizoblast are explosive root growth, the use with any growing medium or hydro system, its ideal use for transplanting, and the enhancement of your plant vigor in fast-flowering plants. Let your plants have a blast and see a world of a difference with Rhizoblast from Botanicare. Check it out at www.botanicare.com.
DFZRadio.com.
Ay, I want a lot of things in this life. I want some things money can't buy. Like a girl who gon' keep it solid. Yeah. Like a girl who gon' need me one who gon' hold it down when I'm in a drought. Need me one who gon' get this cash when I'm running out. I need me one who gon' love this life I'm living with no problem. Hoes talking down, been my baby.
All right, welcome back, Farm to Table Cannabis, DFZ Radio. We're back, throwing it down for the Farm to Table Cannabis crown. Speaking of that shit, dude, there's a food war going on. Did you see that shit? Like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes is officially beefing. I was tripping on this shit.
Popeyes
sold out.
Popeyes is done.
Sold
They
out.
threw in the towel.
Popeyes sold out. They made a chicken sandwich.
They said we're done. Popeyes said we're done. They sold out.
Yeah.
Bro, that shit was wild. I tried to go to the CVS, and there was so many people at the Popeyes. They were in the other parking lot, and I was like, what the is going on
it's
here?
crazy.
Good
They're
Sando.
I was like,
fighting in
dude, am I really getting a chicken sandwich? And then I woke up and I was in Popeyes. It was crazy.
Sometimes you have to when the line's that long.
But the same thing's out there in the nutrient game, you guys. There's nutrient wars going on right now, and it's like fucking buy our shit, don't buy their shit. And everyone's got a pitch now. And I used to do this with GH all the time. I mean, it wasn't as hard with GH. It was like shooting fish in a barrel because you didn't have to really sell the product. It sold so well. But at the same time, now the big companies like that, they have targets on their back. You know, like the Advanced Nutrients, even the Veg Blooms. People are throwing fucking salt at them. The thing is the heavy metal testing pitch. All right, like, bro, you're not changing your nutrients yet? Like, what are you using? Oh, they don't even let you finish what you're saying. What are you using? Oh, yeah, oh, no, bro, that shit'll you'll get heavy metal testing. You can't, you didn't hear they're going to pass a law for heavy metal testing. We talked about that in one of our articles earlier today, that they're testing for new things now. But is that hype? Is that a sales pitch? Or do you guys, believe that maybe there is some truth to maybe the heavy metal, you can't use certain nutrients because of that?
Yeah, I know for a fact that because of where I'm located and all the data I'm collecting from the cultivations I'm working with, I know what products are testing abnormal for certain things that never even occur to you. Arsenic. I've seen tests for arsenic. Like, who in the hell?
Selenium.
And that's a weird.
All sorts of weird
and
stuff.
that's a weird thing too. People they want to jump the gun on arsenic. All right, and like in arsenic's defense, it kills rats, but it could. But it's not in that product in a available level to where like it's tested to where it could actually do something. A lot of these products are just trace elements. Yes. Now the sad thing is the jury's still out. We don't really know like what the acceptable amount of arsenic to have inside your plant.
We've been testing it for years.
Well, I mean, the FDA has been testing, arsenic levels in human consumption. So there is at least that base to work off of. And, we need to be following these trends. If the FDA deems something at a certain ppb to be harmful to the human body, then, logic just kind of spells it out for us, man. Then obviously these are products we need to be monitoring and avoiding.
But isn't this where Chad comes in? He's like, bro, I flush. Okay? I use it fucking advanced nutrients, fucking flush, bro. My shit's clean, bro. Medical grade. It says it right there, medical grade. So can you flush heavy metals out or not?
Jury's out on that one still, isn't it?
Right, okay. All right, yeah.
I mean, who's really running this data right now to find out how long you have to flush?
And we can't trust old Mississippi's data, so
damn right we can't. I mean, so as the industry continues to evolve, we're gonna start locking these types of questions down.
And you guys have become a leading expert on that. That's why I pose these to you a lot of the time, because I'm in my job day to day, I sell the product. And who do I sell it to? I'm fucking selling it to you guys because you guys got the connection. You guys know the people. You guys know the products like the back of your hands for growing. I did a tour with you a couple weeks ago, and you introduced us to a great facility that was just like first class all the way. I can't say anything because that's not how we roll. But, dude, the connections you guys get from this evolving industry, the value on those are you can't put that, because it's more than a facility that's worth money. It's the cool people that run them now, and that's the cool thing you guys get to do now. Is you guys get to meet all these people. You get to introduce yourself to growers that I guess we wouldn't necessarily have opportunities to have conversations with. So,
we're the front line.
Yeah, you guys are. I mean, all I can do is get you the product. It's the bullet. You guys are the guns.
100.
Now, leading that charge with the Grow Generation is their commercial sales team.
There is. So,
now, tell us a little bit about the commercial sales team. And you guys got 24 locations across the United States.
23.
23 locations across the United
9
States.
states.
It's like Hydra. You cut one head, another one grows back. 2 more grow back. And so it's a commercial sales team that's fitted in a unique position because you guys have so many locations, satellite locations to where they can service. So tell us a little bit about that.
So our commercial division would be management core. And that's composed of people that have a long time in this industry that have, we've got, when you add it all up, I think there's something like 5 million square feet of canopy space that this group has represented and supplied and helped design and whatnot.
And you learn from that.
Dude, it's all data, man. It's all collecting all this and learning from it. So the next one I'm walking into, or anybody from the commercial division is walking into, when we share this information with each other. So when we're creating SOPs for facilities we're working with, and when they're giving us the chance to create these SOPs for them, it makes it that much easier drawing off of all this data we've collected to get them set in a great motion, man, that they're not going to fail at the end of the day from one way or the other. And it all breaks down to SOPs.
And dealing with those growers and implementing those SOPs. And, I mean, some of these guys, there's egos in this game, Brando. I know you've seen it. You've seen it dealing with people in the commercial game. How do you go in there and convince someone they think they've got it fucking figured out, and you come in just to, I don't know, make a humidifier recommendation, you see, oh, my God, there's like 10 things I need. How is your approach? How do you delicately not shatter that quote-unquote master grower's ego?
In my business, it's all ego and all the retail part.
Or is it you go out there and just crush that ego right out the rip?
I mean, unfortunately, that's the best way. Is honesty's the best policy, and if you're always stick to that, your guns the whole time. When they do decide to listen, you've always been at that same point, and they'll come back at you and realize that you were probably right in the first place. If not, take at least some of that information and help build off of their information. So
it's kind of like learning from each other in a way.
Yeah, it's great. That's the best part about coming Grow Generation is the amount of knowledge that's out there for us now as a retail store. Is we never really had a lot of that. It was all self-research. What I can think of doesn't matter. I got to have other people that know a lot more than I do to solve bigger problems. So.
Now, you were part of the Palm Springs hydroponics family,
yeah.
All right? And you were there for years before the Grow Generation switched. Donnie, you've seen the same implementation happen across the states in very many Grow Generation acquisitions. Now, what are some of the other resources that are available to you now that were not available to you when you were just, a regular mom and pop shop?
I just have access to a ton of different situations since, my town's a melting pot of all these different areas. Just the product knowledge instantly from something I've never heard of to talking to one person in a different area and knowing everything about it. That's been a real big goal. Being able to do a little bit bigger scale stuff. We weren't really prepared to surface all these big grows that were coming in, so we kind of missed out on some of them.
It was like the worst year in the industry. It was like Hydropocalypse 2019.
They all came in at once, and then they all failed and were gone, and it was kind of like you didn't know if it was going to happen, and then now they're all just like, nope, we were just gathering millions of more dollars. Here we are again.
6 months later.
Yeah, now they're ready to go.
Pulling the trigger.
We've been doing orders that I've been building for 5 years, and then now they're like, I'm ready. You're like, oh, crap, I thought you were dead. Like, I didn't even know. Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, like I was worried about you.
And then we get the celebrities entering the industry, and Palm Springs is one of those places.
We got Mike Tyson.
You guys got, and you never know what grower coming in who's working for who, and like these are the guys going to the shops sometimes, you guys mostly are doing deliveries to the big commercial places.
I have loaded 707 into Maseratis and filled the back of that car and been like, you can have my truck. Just let me borrow this car. No.
But it's like the guy coming in doing the runs for these places are low level on the totem pole. They're asking for the necessities. Yeah. So you guys carry everything from the commercial side of things and of sizes all the way down to the trinkets too?
We do everything at our shop, so we have a big giant storage, so we have tried to get us whatever people are going to be buying. So if whatever is trending and sold, I'm trying to stock that. That's the hardest part about that many different aspects of it, is just trying to have it, because if it's not there, they're going to go to wherever they're getting it from before.
Than not
they'll drive that. They'll send that guy to L.A. He's in a Maserati. He don't care. He's going to be back and get it from somewhere else.
And
so,
guess what?
Yeah,
That's
somebody
their
will have
customer
it.
now.
Yeah, and then they'll find the deal, and I'm out. So I try to accommodate as much as I possibly can, quickly as I possibly can.
So Grow Generation, working with some of the biggest commercial grows in the industry, biggest licensed producers out there. You know, there's so much knowledge and growth going on right now. I mean, what's the next step for Grow Generation? Is it, you know, nationwide expansion to all 50 states? Is there anything good? Is there anything good? Yeah. Hey.
It was a good listen.
So
bro.
you guys are part of a publicly traded company.
GRWG.
Now, check out the stock symbol. Go ahead, say that one more time.
GRWG.
Now, if you notice, since you guys were on the show today, the stock's up 2%, you guys. DFZ Radio is, you know, we influence the price of packs with the memes from Black Market Cultivator, and we also influence the Wall Street scene too. You know, we're making moves over here with you guys.
You guys were so big back
here.
Man.
We're huge in Europe, huge in Japan.
Keep it up, man.
Who's not?
And yeah, we're burning like the Amazon.
Oh yeah, no, that was touchy.
So when it comes to like the diversifying of the hydro scene now, and you see like the commercial extracts and the rosin presses and all that, I gotta ask: are you guys carrying the extract equipment yet, or the ovens and stuff like that?
Not at my
Do I got to
store
put my
personally.
Macho Man Randy Rosin voice on to get a fucking reaction from you? So if you guys weren't listening last week, we did a little prank call over to the Palm Springs Grow Generation, and we got Ned on the phone.
Yeah.
And he's been there for a minute. He's a good dude. He rolls with the punches, and he had no idea that he was being pranked. He was being so polite.
Yeah, you'd have thought that was the first time he ever answered the phone in 6 years. But
Sucks. But he was such a good sport, man. And I had to ask and bring it up now if you guys are carrying the Rosin, the Macho Man Randy Rosin presses. Smoother than sour, higher than the Tower of Power.
yeah, we have Hulkamania days down there. Rip our sleeves off, squish some stuff for you.
So, I mean, before we log off here and start the next, you guys want to stay around for the Heavy Tea Show, right?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to get you on the air in the Heavy Tea Grow Show, too. We'll talk a little grow there. So, you know, you can continue on after this show on DFC Radio, 562-653-0707. We're giving out some prizes for listening and for asking questions, even if it's a stupid question. There's no amount of stupid questions that
Trust
we won't
me,
answer.
we've heard it anyway.
Yeah, we'll answer
4,
all
5,
day.
6,000 times.
And so we'll be talking a little bit about that tonight too. But I wanted to shift it back over to you, Latham. You were so great about bringing in these awesome products for us to try, and I've almost finished my creme brulee, and I'm already starting to feel the redness in my ears as the THC starts to kick in.
Get a little fuzzy.
So the agave nectar is the newest flavor.
Yeah.
The sugar was the original, but the thing you said on the commercial break too was that, you know, these are all USDA certified organic,
and the agave is also EU standard biodynamique standard, so it's a very high level of purity.
And it's sourced correctly. That's the cool thing.
Absolutely sustainable.
You got to make sure that when you are, you know, purchasing these brands, you know how they're sourcing it and making sure that, you know, they're giving back to the communities from which they're taking. And same thing goes for hydro, guys. So we want to send you off with that. We want to thank you so much, Latham,
Thanks for
coming in.
It's been really fun.
And you know, pay attention to where you're sourcing your ingredients from. Pay attention to where you're putting your money. You vote with your dollars. And, you know, if you want to stay educated and medicated, catch us every week, 5 o'clock, DFZ Radio, Farm To Table Cannabis. Thanks to Grow Gen. We'll be back with the Farm To Table Cannabis Show next week. We've got a good show lined up. CBD Sundays is in effect. Chef Matt's coming through. Rico's going to be in the building. Rico Suave. No, not that Rico Suave. So stay tuned next week. DFZ Radio Heavy Tea Show is about to start.
Steps in the kitchen and he chopping up hydro. The hydro steps in the building and he rolling up hydro. Hydro's in the kitchen and he cooking it up. Hydro, let's go. Hydro's in the studio. Chop it up, chop it up. Up that hydro. Hydro make me feel fine. Roll up that hydro. Hydro make me feel fine. Cook up that hydro. Hydro make me feel high. Feeling so high. Roll up, cook up, hydro. Roll up, cook up, hydro. Roll up, cook up, hydro. Let's go. Roll up, cook up, hydro.
DFCRadio.com.